39ನೇ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾಪನಾ ದಿನ ಮತ್ತು ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದು ಸೇರಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈ ಸಭೆಗೆ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಆಗಮಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಈ ಸಭೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾಪನಾ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆಯ ವಿಶೇಷ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ನೀಡುವುದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇರುವಂಥ ನಾಡಿನ ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧರಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನೂಪ್ ಕೆ ಪೂಜಾರಿ ಅವರು, ಸಂದರ್ಶಕ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರು, ಹಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾಜಿ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿ, ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ವಿಶ್ರಾಂತ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ PG ಚೆಂಗಪ್ಪ ಇವರು ಕೂಡ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಈ ಸಭಾಂಗಣವನ್ನು ಪ್ರವೇಶಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವದಿಂದ ಅವರನ್ನು ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ನೆನಪಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅವರನ್ನು ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಸಂದರ್ಭಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾತರದಿಂದ ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಇವತ್ತು ಸಂಸ್ಥಾಪನಾ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆಯ ಪ್ರಯುಕ್ತ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಿರಿಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು, ಪ್ರತಿಭಾನ್ವಿತ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು, ಸಾಧಕ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಹಿರಿಯರು ಯಾರಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರನ್ನು ಗೌರವಿಸುವ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಮೊಟ್ಟೆಯ ಕಥೆಯ ಖ್ಯಾತ ಚಲನಚಿತ್ರ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕ ಶ್ರೀ ರಾಜು ಬಿ ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ ಅವರು, ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಕಾಮನ್ವೆಲ್ತ್ ಕ್ರೀಡಾಕೂಟದ ಪದಕ ವಿಜೇತರಾದ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುರಾಜ್ ಪೂಜಾರಿ ಅವರು, ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಆಗಮಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭದ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷತೆಯನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಲಿರುವವರು ಮಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾದ, ಪ್ರಭಾರ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಿಶೋರ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ CK ಇವರು. ಎಲ್ಲ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳು ಸಭಾಂಗಣವನ್ನು ಪ್ರವೇಶಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆತ್ಮೀಯರೇ, ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ತಿಳಿದಿರುವ ಹಾಗೆ 1980 ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಂಬರ್ 10 ಕೊಣಾಜೆ ಪರಿಸರದ ಈ ಬೋಳುಗುಡ್ಡೆ ಮಂಗಳ ಗಂಗೋತ್ರಿ ಎಂದು ನಾಮಾಂಕಿತಗೊಂಡು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಬಾಗಿಲು ತೆರೆದ ಶುಭ ದಿನ. ಇಂದು ಭೌತಿಕವಾಗಿ ಸುಂದರ ಆವರಣವನ್ನು ಹೊಂದಿ ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಸೌಲಭ್ಯಗಳ ಕೇಂದ್ರವಾಗಿ ದಕ್ಷಿಣ ಕನ್ನಡ, ಉಡುಪಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕೊಡಗಿನ ಸೀಮಿತ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಮೀರಿ ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳನ್ನು ಸೆಳೆಯುವಷ್ಟು ಬೆಳೆದು ನಿಂತಿದೆ. ದೇಶದ ಮಹತ್ವದ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಾಗಿ ಕಾಣಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ, ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕ, ಕ್ರೀಡಾ ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ದೇಶ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಪಡುವ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಗಳನ್ನು ಊರಿದೆ. ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಸಾಧನೆಯ 39 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಈ ಯಾನದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಟ್ಟಿಲುಗಳಾದ ಕೈಗಳು ಸಾವಿರಾರು. ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆಯಿಂದ ನೆನಪು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತಾ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಆರಂಭಿಸುವವರಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆಯ ಒಂದು ಶುಭ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಜೋಡಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಪರಾಹ್ನ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ವ್ಯಾಪ್ತಿಯ ವಿವಿಧ ಕಾಲೇಜುಗಳ ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕ ತಂಡ, ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿ ವಿಜೇತ, ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಮಟ್ಟದ ಅನೇಕ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧೆಗಳು ನಡೆದಿವೆ ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ವಿಭಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ. ಆ ವಿಭಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಪಡೆದಿರುವ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ತಂಡ ಇವತ್ತು ಮಧ್ಯಾಹ್ನದ ನಂತರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸಾಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಕ ಸಂಜೆಯನ್ನು ಈ ವೇದಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅನಾವರಣಗೊಳಿಸುವುದಕ್ಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇಡೀ ದಿವಸದ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಮಿಸಿರುವ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಸಹಕಾರವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವದಿಂದ ಕೇಳಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗಿದ್ದು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಯಶಸ್ವಿಗೊಳಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ವಿನಂತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ನಾವು ಆರಂಭಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ವಿಶೇಷ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ನೀಡುವುದಕ್ಕಿರುವ ಹಿರಿಯರಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನೂಪ್ ಕೆ ಪೂಜಾರಿ ಇವರು, ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ವಿಶೇಷ ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸಲಿರುವ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎಂ ಅಬ್ದುಲ್ ರಹಮಾನ್ ಇವರು, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ SN ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಇವರು, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ PG ಚೆಂಗಪ್ಪ ಇವರು, ಸಾಧಕ ಪ್ರಶಸ್ತಿಯನ್ನು ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸಲಿರುವ ಶ್ರೀ ರಾಜ್ ಬಿ ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ ಇವರು, ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುರಾಜ್ ಪೂಜಾರಿ ಅವರು, ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷತೆಯನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಲಿರುವ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಿಶೋರ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ CK ಇವರನ್ನು ಕುಲಸಚಿವರಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ AM ಖಾನ್ ಇವರು, ಪರೀಕ್ಷಾಂಗ ಕುಲಸಚಿವರಾದ ರವೀಂದ್ರಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಅವರು, ಹಣಕಾಸು ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಆದ ಶ್ರೀ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ದಯಾನಂದ್ ನಾಯಕ್ ಇವರು ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವದಿಂದ ವಿನಂತಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಈ ಇಡೀ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಆಯೋಜನಾ ಸಮಿತಿಯ ಸಂಚಾಲಕರಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ T ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನಪ್ಪ ಅವರು ವೇದಿಕೆಗೆ ಗಣ್ಯರೊಂದಿಗೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರೀತಿಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿ ಕೇಳಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ.
Good morning, sir. I'm fine, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for coming, sir. Good morning, friends. Today is the 39th Foundation Day of Mangalore University. As you know, this is one of the most important days in the university calendar next to the annual convocation of the university. And this year, the special feature of the Foundation Day is that it is done along with the introduction of the Teachers' Day celebrations as well. Plus an added attraction in the afternoon session would be the cultural program by the students. So everyone is coming together here, the administrators, the teachers, and the students of the university are here together in a joint act of the celebration of academic excellence. We will start the program with the university anthem. Dhananjay will tell you more.
ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಗೀತೆಯ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಾವು ಆರಂಭಿಸುವವರಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಈ ಹಿಂದಿನ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳ ಅವಧಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ರೂಪುಗೊಂಡ ಈ ಗೀತೆಯ ಕವಿತಾ ಮೂಲ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಅಮೃತ ಸೋಮೇಶ್ವರ ಇವರದ್ದು. ಗೀತ ಸಂಯೋಜನೆ ಗುರು ಕಿರಣ್ ಮತ್ತು ಬಳಗ ಇವರು. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಎದ್ದು ನಿಂತು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಗೀತೆಗೆ ಗೌರವ ಸೂಚಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ವಿನಂತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ.
ತೆರೆಸುತ್ತ ಕಣ್ಣ ಈ ವಿದ್ಯೆ ಹೊನ್ನ ಕಿರಣ ದಿನ ಪಾಠ ಪಠಣ ಗುರು ಬುದ್ಧಿ ವಚನ ಇದು ವಿದ್ಯಾದಾನ ತಾಣ ಪಡೆದಾಗಲೇ ಸಿರಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಂಧಕಾರ ದಮನ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ನಮಃ
ಜ್ಞಾನವೇ ಬೆಳಕು ಬೆಳಗೋಕೆ ಬದುಕು ಇದು ವಿದ್ಯಾದಾನ ತಾಣ ಪಡೆದಾಗಲೇ ಸಿರಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ನಮ್ಮ ಅಂಧಕಾರ ದಮನ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ನಮನ ನಮನ ಜ್ಞಾನವೇ ಬೆಳಕು ಬೆಳಗೋಕೆ ಬದುಕು ಜ್ಞಾನವೇ ಬೆಳಕು ಬೆಳಗೋಕೆ ಬದುಕು.
Friends, as you would have heard, the university anthem combines the past with the present and leads the way forward into the future. Starting from the days of its beginnings with Professor Amrit Someshwar, you would have seen how the university anthem has assumed a new form, a more contemporary form. which symbolizes the evolving consciousness of Mangalore University as it sums up the sweep of the past and takes it forward into the great dream of the future. It's now time for us to listen to Professor A.M. Khan, the Registrar of Mangalore University, formerly Registrar Evaluation, also Professor of Electronics in this university. Professor A.M. Khan, with the welcome.
Good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. Yellarigo namaskara. Respected dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, distinguished invitees, esteemed faculty members, students, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it a proud privilege to stand before you to welcome each one of you present here for the Teachers' Day as well as the 39th Foundation Day celebrations of Mangalore University. As you all know, our university came into being on this day, that is the 10th September 1980. It was carved out of the University of Mysore and has a jurisdiction of 3 districts, Dakshin Kannada, Udupi and Coorg. The university has grown steadily from a mere 34 colleges and 7 PG departments to 216 colleges and 29 PG departments on the campus offering 42 PG programs. Today, a young university at the age of 38, Mangalore University is one of the top ranked universities in the country. As per the India Today ranking published in July 2018, Mangalore University ranks first in the state and 12th in the country on academic front. The university is also ranked 3rd in the country as per the Green Metric ranking for environmental concerns. Among its achievements, the university is ranked 2nd in the country on the athletic front and also 2nd in the country in the cultural festivals. In the past, many distinguished scientists and personalities have delivered the Foundation Day lecture that has motivated the staff and students to achieve greater heights of excellence. Today we have amidst us a well-known person, a familiar person to Mangalore, Dr. Anup K. Pujari, to deliver this year's Foundation Day lecture. Dr. Anup K. Pujari has a doctorate from Boston University in economics. He joined IAS in 1980 and has served in various capacities in the state of Karnataka. What brings him more closer to us is that he has served as the DC of Dakshin Kannada district during 1987-88, apart from serving as a registrar of Bangalore University and principal secretary of Information Technology and Biotechnology departments. Presently, he is a visiting professor at Harvard University. Sir, we are very privileged to have you amidst us here to deliver the 39th Foundation Day lecture. I, on behalf of Mangalore University, the Vice Chancellor, and all present here, welcome you wholeheartedly to this program. Welcome you, sir. Over the last few years, Mangalore University has been celebrating the Teachers' Day in a unique way. We are all celebrating the Teachers' Day today. As per the traditions, we are honoring 3 eminent teachers representing the districts of Dakshin Kannada, Udupi and Coorg for their contribution to teaching, research and generally the field of education. First among them is Professor M. Abdul Rahman, who has been a teacher, a researcher and an administrator in various institutions of higher learning. He started his career in the Department of Bioscience and contributed immensely to the growth of Mangalore University before becoming the Vice Chancellor of Kannur and Calicut Universities. Today, he is a well-known educationist who has traveled the length and breadth of the country for accreditation and universities, colleges, and has been on the advisory board of many institutions. I need not say much at this juncture because his detailed achievements will be read out in the citation later. Sir, on behalf of Mangalore University, the Honorable Vice Chancellor, and all present here, I welcome you wholeheartedly to this program. Welcome you, sir. Another stalwart in the field of education is Professor S.N. Hegde, who has an illustrious career spanning over 50 years from Mangalore University as a teaching faculty in applied zoology, member of various bodies before he held the important positions of Vice Chancellor of University of Mysore for 2 terms. Presently, he is the president of the Forum of Former Vice Chancellors, which is playing a major role in bringing about a change in the administration and governance of universities. Sir, on behalf of the Vice Chancellor and Mangalore University and each one of them present here, I extend you a very warm welcome to this program. Welcome you, sir. The third teacher we are felicitating today is Professor P.G. Chengappa, one of the leading agricultural economists in the country, who has contributed extensively to agricultural education and research. He had an illustrious career at the University of Agricultural Sciences, Bangalore, as a teacher, researcher, registrar, and then as a Vice Chancellor of the university. He has been a member of many policy-making committees of the Government of India. Sir, on behalf of Mangalore University, the Vice Chancellor, and all people present here, I welcome you to this program. Welcome you, sir. As you all know, we have combined this function of the Teachers' Day and the Foundation Day together. Mangalore University has become a best practice of honoring the alumni, the achievers of the university who have achieved excellence in the field of art and culture, sports, or social service. Today, we have two people among us who have excelled in their fields and brought laurels to the university. We have Sri Raju B. Shetty, who is an actor, director, and a producer who has contributed to the film industry and won many awards. His name became synonymous to all of us for his film, Vandu Motteya Kate. Sir, Mangalore University is proud to have you and wishes you more success in the field. On behalf of all present here, I extend you a warm welcome. Welcome you, sir. There we have a young athlete, Sri Gurraj Pujari, who has achieved many accolades in the field of sports. As you all know, people who have been honored in the last few years, Sri Puvamma, have achieved gold medal in the recent Asian Games. Similarly, Sri Gurraj has achieved many accolades in the field of sports. He has won many medals both at the national and international level. Notable among them are the silver medal in the Commonwealth Games. He has been honored with the Ekalavya Award by the Government of Karnataka. On behalf of Mangalore University and all present here, I wholeheartedly welcome you to this program. The president of this program is our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Kishore Kumar, who, as a director of sports, has been able to marshal all the sportsmen of all the colleges and made them to achieve laurels for this university. He has been the backbone of organizing many programs despite all odds. On behalf of all present here, I extend you a very warm welcome, sir. Welcome you, sir. I have my colleagues, Professor Ravindrachari, the Registrar Evaluation, and Professor Dayanand Naik, the Finance Officer on stage. I extend you a warm welcome to this program. The overall program coordinator is Professor Mallikarjunappa and is with us here. I welcome you, sir, to this program. I also extend a warm welcome to the distinguished invitees, the members of the syndicate, the academic council, and various bodies of the university. The success of the university has been because of the commitment of all teachers and the non-teaching faculty. I welcome the teaching and non-teaching faculty members who are present here. Welcome you all. I welcome the students in particular because today being, for various reasons, a ban being called and there being no source of traveling here, many have come in large numbers. I extend a very warm welcome to all the students present here. Welcome you all. I also would like to mention that we have a few number of international students who also are here. I welcome all the international students as well. Welcome you all. Their enthusiasm makes us conduct such meaningful programs again and again. Our media friends have always been highlighting the activities of university and have contributed significantly to the success of the program of the university. I welcome each one of you to this program. Welcome you. I also welcome all the members of various committees and all the people who have been toiling day and night to make this program a grand success. Welcome each one of you. Thank you.
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಜ್ಯ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಪಡುವ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿತ್ವಗಳು ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಇದೀಗ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛದ ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ನೀಡುವುದರ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಹೇಳುವುದಕ್ಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಕಿಶೋರ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸಿ ಕೆ ಇವರು. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾಪನಾ ದಿನದ ವಿಶೇಷ ಉಪನ್ಯಾಸವನ್ನು ನೀಡುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಮಿಸಿರುವ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನೂಪ್ ಕೆ ಪೂಜಾರಿ, ಸಂದರ್ಶಕ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರು, ಹಾರ್ವರ್ಡ್ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾಜಿ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿ, ಭಾರತ ಸರ್ಕಾರ, ಇವರಿಗೆ ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛದ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಗೌರವ ಸಮರ್ಪಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳು. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ವಿಶೇಷ ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸುವುದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಆಗಮಿಸಿರುವ ನಮ್ಮವರೇ, ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರಾಗಿದ್ದವರು ಮತ್ತು ಕಲ್ಲಿಕೋಟೆ ಮತ್ತು ಕಣ್ಣೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ವಿಶ್ರಾಂತ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳು ಆಗಿರುವ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎಂ ಅಬ್ದುಲ್ ರಹಮಾನ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಇದೀಗ ಪುಷ್ಪ ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿ ಗೌರವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳು. ಈ ಆವರಣದಲ್ಲೇ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರಾಗಿದ್ದು ಬಳಿಕ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತ ಮೈಸೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ವಿಶ್ರಾಂತ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾಗಿರುವ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎಸ್ ಎನ್ ಹೆಗ್ಡೆ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವದ ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ಸಮರ್ಪಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳು. ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನ ಪ್ರತಿಷ್ಠಿತ ಕೃಷಿ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ವಿಶ್ರಾಂತ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಪಿ ಜಿ ಚಂಗಪ್ಪ ಇವರಿಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛದ ಗೌರವ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾಪನಾ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆಯ ವಿಶೇಷ ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ಸ್ವೀಕರಿಸುವುದಕ್ಕಾಗಮಿಸುವ ನಾಡಿನ ಖ್ಯಾತ ಚಲನಚಿತ್ರ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕ ಮತ್ತು ನಟ ಶ್ರೀ ರಾಜ್ ಬಿ ಶೆಟ್ಟಿ ಇವರಿಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಪುಷ್ಪ ಗೌರವ. ಕ್ರೀಡಾಕೂಟದ ಮೂಲಕ ದೇಶದ ಘನತೆ ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿಸಿದ ಕ್ರೀಡಾಪಟು ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುರಾಜ್ ಪೂಜಾರಿ ಇವರಿಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಗೌರವ. ಇದೀಗ ಈ ಸಮಾರಂಭದ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷತೆಯನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಿರುವ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಿಶೋರ್ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸಿ.ಕೆ. ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಪ್ರಭಾರ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳು ಮಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಇವರಿಗೆ ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛದ ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ನೀಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕುಲಸಚಿವರಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎ.ಎಂ. ಖಾನ್ ಇವರು. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಸಮಾರಂಭದ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಿಗೆ ಕುಲಸಚಿವರಿಂದ ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛದ ಗೌರವ. ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ನಿರ್ವಹಿಸಿದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎ.ಎಂ. ಖಾನ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತದ ಮಾತುಗಳೊಂದಿಗೆ ಇದೀಗ ಪರೀಕ್ಷಾಂಗ ಕುಲಸಚಿವರು ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛವನ್ನು ನೀಡ್ತಾ ಅವರನ್ನು ಗೌರವಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ವಿನಂತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಪರೀಕ್ಷಾಂಗ ಕುಲಸಚಿವರಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ರವೀಂದ್ರಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಇವರು ಇದೀಗ ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಎ.ಎಂ. ಖಾನ್ ಅವರನ್ನು ಗೌರವಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಪರೀಕ್ಷಾಂಗ ಕುಲಸಚಿವರಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ರವೀಂದ್ರಾಚಾರ್ಯ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಹಣಕಾಸು ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ದಯಾನಂದ ನಾಯ್ಕ್ ಇವರು ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛವನ್ನು ನೀಡುವುದರ ಮೂಲಕ ಅವರನ್ನು ಬರಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ವಿನಂತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಹಣಕಾಸು ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ದಯಾನಂದ ನಾಯ್ಕ್ ಇವರಿಗೆ ಈ ಆಯೋಜನಾ ಸಮಿತಿಯ ಸಂಚಾಲಕರಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಟಿ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನಪ್ಪ ಅವರು ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿ ಗೌರವಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ವಿನಂತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಟಿ ಮಲ್ಲಿಕಾರ್ಜುನಪ್ಪ ಈ ಇಡೀ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಸಂಚಾಲಕರು. ಅವರಿಗೆ ವಿಶೇಷ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾಗಪ್ಪ ಗೌಡ ಅವರು ಪುಷ್ಪಗುಚ್ಛವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿ ಗೌರವಿಸಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ವಿನಂತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ನಾವು ದೀಪ ಬೆಳಗಿಸುವುದರ ಮೂಲಕ ಉದ್ಘಾಟಿಸುವವರಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ವೇದಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಗಣ್ಯರೆಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿಕೊಂಡು ಮುಂಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿರುವ ದೀಪವನ್ನು ಬೆಳಗುವುದರ ಮೂಲಕ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಶುಭ ಚಾಲನೆಯನ್ನು ನೀಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವದಿಂದ ವಿನಂತಿಸಿಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ದೀಪ ಕೇವಲ ಸಾಂಕೇತಿಕ, ಅದು ಜ್ಞಾನವೇ ಬೆಳಕು ಎಂದು ಭಾವಿಸಿದ ಭಾವನೆಯ ಪ್ರತೀಕ. ತಾನುರಿದು ಜಗವ ಬೆಳಗುವ ಸತ್ಕಾರ್ಯದ ರೂಪಕ, ಗುರುತ್ವಕ್ಕೆ ದೊರೆತ ಪರ್ಯಾಯ ಪ್ರತಿಮೆ. ಅಂತಹ ದೀಪವನ್ನು ವೇದಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಮಹನೀಯರು ಬೆಳಗುತ್ತಾ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾಲನೆಯ ಪ್ರಭೆಯನ್ನ ನೀಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಜ್ಞಾನವೇ ಬೆಳಕು ಎನ್ನುವ ಸಂದೇಶವನ್ನು ಹೊತ್ತುಕೊಂಡು ಅರಳಿರುವ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೀಗ ದೀಪ ಬೆಳಗುವುದರ ಮೂಲಕ ಈ ಸಂಸ್ಥಾಪನಾ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆ ಇದು ಶುಭಾರಂಭಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ವೇದಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವ ಗಣ್ಯರು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ದೀಪವನ್ನು ಬೆಳಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮುಂದೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಸರ್ವಪಳ್ಳಿ ರಾಧಾಕೃಷ್ಣನ್ ಅವರ ಭಾವಚಿತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಪುಷ್ಪಾರ್ಚನೆಯನ್ನು ಗಣ್ಯರು ಮಾಡುವುದಕ್ಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆರಂಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅನೂಪ್ ಕೆ ಪೂಜಾರಿ ಅವರು ಹಾರಾರ್ಪಣೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡುವುದರ ಮೂಲಕ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಸರ್ವಪಳ್ಳಿ ರಾಧಾಕೃಷ್ಣನ್ ಅವರ ಭಾವಚಿತ್ರಕ್ಕೆ ಹಾರಾರ್ಪಣೆಯನ್ನ ಮಾಡುವುದರ ಮೂಲಕ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಗೌರವವನ್ನು ಸಮರ್ಪಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾಡು ಕಂಡ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠ ಅಧ್ಯಾಪಕ, ತತ್ವಜ್ಞಾನಿ, ಮಾನವತಾವಾದಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸರ್ವಪಳ್ಳಿ ರಾಧಾಕೃಷ್ಣನ್ ಅವರ ನೆನಪಲ್ಲಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆಯನ್ನು ದೇಶಾದ್ಯಂತ ಆಚರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುವುದು ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವ ಸಂಗತಿ. ಇದೀಗ ಪುಷ್ಪಾರ್ಚನೆ ಗಣ್ಯರಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ನಾಡಿನ ಸ್ವಯಂ ಬೆಳಕಾಗಿರುವ ಗುರು ವೃಂದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಗೌರವದ ನಮನಗಳನ್ನು ಸಮರ್ಪಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರ ದಿನಾಚರಣೆಯ ಈ ಶುಭ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ. ಮುಂದೆ ನಮ್ಮೊಂದಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ರವಿಶಂಕರ್ ಸರ್ ಇವರು.
shining bright. It is now time to come to an integral part of the Foundation Day. As conceived by the third Vice Chancellor, Professor M.I. Savadatti, where the Foundation Day lecture was introduced as a part of the Foundation Day celebrations of Mangalore University. And over the years, a number of very illustrious names have come to Mangalore University to deliver this prestigious lecture. You would remember that we had the likes of Dr. R. Chidambaram, the director of the Bhabha Atomic Research Center in Mumbai. We had Professor V.S. Mallimath, the Chief Justice of Karnataka and Kerala High Courts. Professor Jayant V. Narlikar, the director of the Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics at Pune. We had Professor C.N.R. Rao, Bharat Ratna C.N.R. Rao, then director of the Indian Institute of Science in Bengaluru. We had Dr. Girish Karnad, the noted playwright. We had Dr. P.K. Iyengar, member of the Atomic Energy Commission. We had Dr. Raja Ramana, who was then the famous nuclear scientist who was then with the National Institute for Advanced Studies. We had Rajashri Dr. Virendra Hegde, the Dharmadhikari of Sri Kshetra Dharmasthala. We had Dr. M. Veerappa Moily, who was then Honorable Minister for Law and Justice in the Government of India. We had Pro-Chancellor Dr. Basuraj Rai Reddy, and many, many more. And today we have with us a civil servant and teacher of economics who's been active on these circuits for more than 4 decades. The story of his life is marked by persistence and success as a teacher, as a humane administrator, as a policymaker, and lifelong learner, Dr. Anup K. Pujari. Dr. Anup Pujari graduated from the Sambalpur University in 1974 with BA Honours, a first class first, went on to do his MA in Economics from the Delhi School of Economics, again with a first class first, and started his career as a lecturer in economics in Delhi University, and then joined the IAS, the Indian Administrative Service, in 1980. Later on in his career, he had a midway sabbatical where he returned to academics, got a second postgraduate degree, an MA in political economy from the University of Boston. He went on to do his PhD at Boston University, working on IPR issues. That was in 1993. He taught economics at Boston University and Northeastern University. And in 1999, he did his program in Security and Strategic Studies at the National Defense College, New Delhi. And in 2003, he acquired a law degree, an LLB, from Delhi University. As we can see from his academic record, he has always been someone who has been committed to academics and has strengthened his academic credentials and toned his academics and administrative skills. He was Deputy Director and Academic Coordinator of the Executive Program in Public Sector Budgeting, organized by Harvard University in USA, in Kenya, and in Jordan. As an administrator in the Indian Administrative Service, he has served in various capacities in Karnataka between 1980 and 96, and then between 2003 and 2006, as Principal Secretary, IT and Biotechnology, Managing Director of the Karnataka Food and Civil Supplies Corporation, Registrar of Bangalore University, and of course, closer home, Deputy Commissioner of Dakshina Kannada, in which capacity we knew him very well, and Shimoga, Deputy Commissioner of Shimoga districts as well. He took a sabbatical from the Indian Administrative Service to pursue his academic aspirations and goals. He had postings later with the Government of India. From 1997, he held assignments in the Ministry of Law. He was Principal Secretary to the Election Commission. He was Additional Director General of Foreign Trade in the Department of Commerce. He was later Joint Secretary in the Department of Economic Affairs, Government of India, where he dealt with foreign investments and trade, the World Bank, the ADB, and so on. And towards the end of his administrative career, He occupied the very prestigious position of Director General of Foreign Trade. He was also Secretary of Mines and Steel, and he retired from the service as Secretary, Ministry of MSME, which I think is Minor and Small and Medium Enterprises, which is a very important portfolio because MSME is the single largest contributor to India's GDP and the second largest provider of employment in the country. In this vital sector, Dr. Pujari addressed the issues of finance, marketing, technology, and infrastructure. He initiated a slew of hand-holding measures to strengthen the sector and improve the ease of doing business, and the genesis of Startup India is to be seen there, which Dr. Pujari defines as basically the culture of respecting failure. And as an administrator, we know that Dr. Pujari was very humane. We understand that whenever anyone in his department retired, be it an officer, be it a peon, he would always make a phone call to the person and wish him well, and also ask whether there was any post-retirement hurdles, which he would then proceed to clear. Obviously, Dr. Pujari is one who believes in human dignity as a non-negotiable principle. With all these achievements to his credit, he was invited once again by Boston University to teach, and at Harvard University as well, where he was professor. He taught at the prestigious Kennedy School at Harvard University. Ladies and gentlemen, it certainly is a privilege and a pride to have with us for this 39th Foundation Day, Dr. Anup K. Pujari.
Okay. Obviously, Sri Ravi Shankar has done good research on me. I did not know many of these. My mother would have been very happy to listen to all these things. But let me first clarify one thing. I am not a professor, okay? And there are 3 ex-vice chancellors sitting here. They will throw out my application for professorship because I have no publication. Other than writing DO letters and memos, I wrote nothing. So I have not been a professor. At best, you can call me that I have an instructor in economics. I am a visiting faculty. I have been teaching. But teaching has been a passion, so therefore nothing great about that. Today, I will, by the time the computer wakes up, I wanted to talk to you about a few things. First of all, I'm grateful that Mangalore University invited me. There's a place I love. I have been in Mangalore. Now, 31 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. So, it is very emotional. Okay, so it's quite emotional to be back here among people like you. And let me switch on the thing. I think it should be working now. Yes. Why is this day important? Originally, they mentioned that today is the Founders' Day. I was trying to look at anything which will be remotely similar to today. So 2 of the incidents I'm picking up. So the topic that I decided that I'll speak to you about light or sound, let us think about thinking. How do we think? The first thing is about the today. Today is 10th of September. Already mentioned that today is the Founders' Day because the university was set up on this day. I tried to look at 2 more things that are related and try to talk about that. One is that I do not know how many of you will know that in Karnataka, the first television came to, yes, first television came in Karnataka to, please, Gulbarga. And that was in the year 1974, the site experiment. The second thing that I wanted to mention was that on 11th September 1893, Swami Vivekananda, 125 years today, tomorrow it will be 125 years, he spoke in Chicago. This is what he spoke. I picked up one paragraph from what he spoke in the inaugural day, which is 11th September 1893, and one paragraph from the closing function of this conference on religion, which is 27th September 1893. If I read only 2 lines of that, especially for the people who are sitting here, the last line says that I pity the person who dreams of the exclusive survival of his own religion and destruction of others. I pity him. Because he also says, and point out to him that upon the banner of every religion will soon be written the following thing: help, not fight; assimilation, not destruction; harmony of peace, and not dissension. We are a democratic country. In our country, there will be debate. In our country, there will be dissension, but dissension should not lead to destruction. And this is what has been learned to us, has been told to us over generations. So this is one point I started to talk about the relevance of today. The second point, as I mentioned to you a little while ago, is about the television in India. And when you talk about the television in India, it started. Can you switch it on, please? Okay. 15 September 19, it started, the first time the television came. But that is not important. I will go down to very quickly. I will give you a history of what television happened. But the last line is the important thing, because this is not a class where I am going to look at the last line that will come now. The site experiment got started in 1975, and in the satellite instructional television. So if you read the last one, the terrestrial facilities have started in 1976, and the last number there is Gulbarga. What Gulbarga has to do with Mangalore? Gulbarga was my first place of posting, and I will narrate to you a very small example from Gulbarga. As an assistant commissioner in the year 1982, I used to go and visit villages. What do you do when you go and visit a village? What you do when you visit a village, you normally, during those point of those times, when you go to a village, you drive into a village. There are very few vehicles. So a young deputy commissioner walking into a village, it will create a lot of dust, a lot of commotion, a lot of interest. And whatever you're told to do, you go to a school, you go to a SC colony, try whether the water is pumped properly or not. And in that, you also go to a school. So I also went to a school. When you go to the school, you are received with huge amount of respect. The headmaster immediately lines up all the students and says that assistant commissioner bandar ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಾವೇನು ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕು? ಆವಾಗ ನಮಗೆ ಕನ್ನಡ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾನು ಒಡಿಶಾದಿಂದ ಬಂದವನು. ಸೊ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಿಂದಿ, ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲವು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಉತ್ತರ ದಿಕ್ಕಿಗೆ ಏನು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ನಾರ್ತ್ಗೆ ಏನು, 2 or 3 questions I'll ask the students and walk out of that happily. One day I thought, let me become a little naughty, and I asked the students a question. Okay, what moves faster, light or sound? Which is the topic of our discussion today. What moves faster, light or sound? The question, what travels fast? Now obviously no student is coming up to answer that. And then the headmaster is getting very worried, saying, "Yenaitu, yaru helta illa." So help anta. One little boy from the back stands up and said, "Nanu heltini." Heli. He said, "Sound." Headmaster fell. Sound moves faster than light. The headmaster fell, and he was very nervous as to what will happen. The assistant commissioner will think that we are not teaching the students correctly. Sound doesn't move faster than light. ನಾನು ಹುಡುಗ ಕೇಳಿದೆ, ಯಾಕಪ್ಪ ಏನಾಯ್ತು ಅಂತ. He said, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಟೆಲಿವಿಷನ್ ಉಂಟಾ? I said, oh my God. I said, ಇದೆ, ಏನಾಯ್ತು? ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸೌಂಡ್ ಮೊದಲೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ, ಲೈಟ್ ಮೊದಲೇ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. Television ಅಲ್ಲಿ switch, when you switch on the older television with newer versions, what comes quickly, light or sound? Now obviously the young boy was not taught by electronics by professors here. He did not know that there is something called a cathode ray tube which takes time to heat up, and therefore the image comes later than the voice. What he saw, he answered. Was he correct? Was he correct? Now, so I have tried to link television and Gulbarga to pose you this question: do we not behave like that child? Do we not behave like that child all the time? What do I mean by that? I mean that do we not conclude from circumstances and not from evidence? ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ಬಟ್ ಎವಿಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಹುಡುಕ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಸಮಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ? we are very busy people. Do you not make a judgment fast and hurried, quickly and ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ನಾನು ಹೇಳಲೇಬೇಕು ಅಂತ. Do we not wish to gather data? We don't do that. And finally, use whatever information and data is there without scrutiny. We all behave like that little child. In my life, the child for me is an avoiding interest, because each time I try to pinch myself and say, are we doing the right thing? Am I behaving like that child? Because objectivity slides, subjectivity guides. This is the problem with all of us. Individually, I am not trying to blame anybody. I behave like that, and I'm pretty certain some of you may be worse than me or better than me, but all of us behave like this. Why does this happen? This happens because we have not conditioned our thinking process to gather data. We have not conditioned our thinking process to talk in a way by which we take all the information and draw the right conclusion. Okay? I'll try to talk about this in some way very quickly. Okay. I first quote somebody called Dr. Hans Rosling. How many of you have heard of this gentleman? Raise your hands. He studied in Bangalore, in St. John's College. He's a Swedish person. He died last year, 1948 to 2017. And you can Google him later on and find out what he does. Most of this thing that I'm talking is stolen from him. That means I'm attributing that whatever I'm talking, I'm his mouthpiece today, because there are certain things I want you people to know. What is it? Let me ask you some questions. I actually was telling Professor Khan that I will do a test with all of you, but I don't think many of you have come with pen and paper, so we'll do it memory sort of a test. Now, the question that I'm going to ask is the following. How many girls finish primary school education in the world? Or make it not the world, but the question is, in all low-income countries across the world today, how many girls finish primary school? Can somebody guess? Make a guess. Anybody? Any girl at the back? How many? What is the percentage? 10, 20, 30, 40, 80? Any one guess, please? Sorry? 20. Excellent. You know what I'm going to write, because 20% is the answer number one. But next answer, the multiple choice question. So whoever said 20 must have known my mind that I'm writing 20, 20, 40, 60. Now, would you be surprised if I tell you, none of you have thought that the answer is 60%. None of you. Is there anybody who thought that the answer is 60%? That 60% of the women, the girl children in the world today, in the low income countries, they finish primary school. ನಮಗೆ ಇದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾಹಿತಿನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ವಿ ಥಿಂಕ್ ದಟ್ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಯಾಡ್ ಪ್ಲೇಸ್. 20% ಮಾತ್ರ ಪಾಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರಪ್ಪ ಮಹಿಳೆಯರು, ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಕ್ವೆಶ್ಚನ್. Which is the most populous place in the world today? Is it the poorer countries, low income countries? Is it the middle income countries? It is the high income countries. Suppose I try to put all the people in the world into 3 different compartments, which would be the most populous? Any guess? Middle income countries. Is it? No? Low income countries? Somebody? Anyone? Low income countries. Okay, I hear low income countries. Unfortunately, the answer is not that. Answer is again middle income countries. So in this game now, it's 2-0. Okay, the score is 2-0. Now, next question. Vaccination of children. Okay, what type of children? How many of the world's 1-year-old children today have been vaccinated against some disease? Not all disease, some disease. The possible answers, please think about that. 20%, 50%, 80%. Okay, what is the answer? Oh, you have learned the game now. 80% the right answer. 80% is the right answer. But let's see, when the same question, think of this, when I was a child, I would never have thought that more than 10% of the children in my school were inoculated. Today, 80%. And in Mangalore, it will be very close to 97, 98%, almost 100%. We are doing well. We are all doing well. Okay, let's see, when the same question is given to people, 80% of the children are vaccinated, but see the answers from this. I don't know how many of you can read that. Switzerland, I'm sorry, in Sweden, topmost thing, 21% got the right answer. And the lowest, France, only 6% people in France got the right answer. Why? Why is that? Because people are pessimistic. People do not know that things are looking better, and in a place like France, and this particular study was given in 2017 to about 20 odd countries, and this is the result. I have one more question and then I'll stop this particular thing. The next question is, how has poverty, that is what is the abiding interest in us, how has that changed? Poverty, in the last few decades, the percent of people living in extreme poverty in the world has, choice 1, doubled, almost doubled, choice number 2, remained the same, choice number 3, almost halved. You all know the game now. Yes, it is halved. It is halved. And what was the answer of the 20 richest countries in the world? The 20 richest countries in the world, this was the answer. Number of people who got this question right is Hungary, only 2% persons got this right. In Spain, 3% out of 100 people, only 3 thought that the poverty has gone down. Incredible, isn't it? Why does it happen? Why is it that we do not see our neighborhood, we don't get information, all these things are available in the computer. We do not see that. Why? We are pessimistic people. We think world is a very bad place. We think the vice chancellor will only shout at us. We think the registrar will not give us leave. No, world is not like that. And let me give you the context of this particular thing. The context is that this website you can see, gapminder.org, terrible result from the misconception study 2017. At the moment, 2018 studies are going on. Those of you who would like to take part of that, please go to the website and take part of that. Now, what did they do? They did the following thing. Most people in the richest countries are absolutely wrong about the state of the world, and I'm quite happy to see that at least 50% of you are wrong, because first 2 questions most of you got wrong, second 2 either by prompting or otherwise or by guessing, you got it right. Congratulations. But at least you are doing much better than the richest countries in the world. What Mr. Rosling and his son and daughter-in-law did was that they did the following thing. 12 basic facts were administered to 14 countries using online data. Every question has 3 alternatives, A, B and C. In a zoo, if I throw 3 bananas at the monkeys, the chimpanzees, written A, B and C, how often they will get a correct answer? Those who know probability will know 33% of the time the monkey will pick up the right answer, because A, B and C. So let us contrast ourselves with that monkey. You people did well, 50% right, you are better than the monkey, but all those people, all these countries were worse than the monkey, worse than the chimpanzee. What happened is that in all these countries, when this was done, on the average, a monkey picking the answer rightly will get 4 out of 12 correct answers. Average score of human beings is 2.2. You are 50%, much better than that. 2.2 average score in 14 rich countries. This is the reason why the logo for the 2017 study was a monkey, because this is what monkeys are doing, and people are worse than monkeys. Look at this. 80% of the people are worse than monkey, because monkey is at the middle where he gets 4 answers right. In the whole of these 14 countries, 12 questions, no one got right. No one got right. All 12 questions. Isn't that quite sad? Quite sad. Why does this happen? Let's think about that. Why does that happen? This happens because all of you think things are going bad, like this. Negative instinct, negative thinking. We never are positive. Light ಹೊರಟೋಯ್ತು ಕಳ್ಳರು ಸರ್, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕಳ್ಳರು ಸರ್, ತಿಂತಾರೆ ಸರ್, ದುಡ್ಡು ತಿಂತಾರೆ ಸರ್, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಲೈಟ್ ಹೊರಟೋಯ್ತು. ಅರೆ ಲೈಟ್ ಹೊರಟೋಯ್ತು, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಬೇಕಾಗಿರಬಹುದು. But the first thing that comes to our mind is this. I was talking to Professor there. We wanted to come to the hall at 10:30. Why? Many of you will think if the program does not start at 10:30, or the bloody VIP sir, our time alli yava baralla sir avaru. Late agi bartare sir avaru. Alva. Today, for your information, all of us were ready to come here at 10:25. We respect your time, and I hope you will respect everybody's time when you get a chance. Difficulty is that, in spite of that, we have negative instinct. We think negatively. We do not want to be positive. So this is about one reason. But why are you forgetting that things are also getting better? Things do get better. There are days on which things will become bad. But that day when the things become bad, that also captures our imagination. Things that always, say small increment of good things are not noticed because we are not conditioned to be noticing good things. What is news? A wrong thing becomes a news. So this is one point I wanted to mention to you. No, I just picked up, there are many things in the world which is becoming better. Don't worry about looking at that, but if you look at the lower two things, the amount of lead in gasoline is going down drastically, the lower, absolutely the low one. But we'll not waste time because let's talk about, there are a lot of things which are good and becoming much better. Literacy rate, look at the literacy rate. Look at the literacy rate. In 1800 it was only 10,000. So these are the good things which are becoming extremely good. The first 16 panels where I just jumped through are bad things becoming worse. I'm sorry, the bad things becoming less bad, and here good things are becoming much better. Do we notice that? We do not notice. We're busy. Facebook, WhatsApp, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ ನೋಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಬೇರೆ ಏನು ನಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ನೋಡಿದರೆ we do not recognize that that happens. My request to you is that on a day like this, when you're celebrating teachers, 3 teachers, Teachers' Day, can you be more objective about life? Can you be smiling? Can you be happy? Let me tell you a small story about smiling. This time in Harvard when I was teaching, a very close friend of mine who was a teacher with me, his wife was in the ICU for a whole of 5 weeks that were there. We asked him, you are still teaching? He said, yes. You are still smiling? He called me and said, if I cry, my wife will get better. Let us cry together. You realize that though the wife is in the ICU, the commitment to the work, which has no impact on the wife's health, must continue. Just because there is a bad thing happening, does it mean we will color everything else with that little paint and do nothing? ಏನಾಯ್ತು ವೈಫ್ ICU ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್, ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ನಮಗೆ. ಅರೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡದೇ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಮ್ಮ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಬಿಡ್ತಾರಾ? ಆಗಲ್ಲ. Therefore, we must also prioritize it to where to be sad and where not to be sad. Let's move further. I'll give you a very unusual example. This example is the measure of happiness in the world or measure of progress in the world. And what is the proxy I've chosen? Guitars. Number of guitars in the world. Who plays a guitar? 60% of time a person who is very happy, 40% of time or 10% of time a dejected lover, a person who is very unhappy. But mostly, if you are buying a guitar, you must be a happy person. So what Mr. Rosling did is that he took the number of guitars and he tried to say world is getting better because in the number of guitars in 2014 has gone to 11,000 guitars per capita, 100,000, earlier it was much less, which means this is one way of capturing your mind to tell you world is getting better. Let's again think about this in a different way. I spoke to you. Let me give you certain advice. To banish negative thoughts, please expect bad news. Don't think of bad news as something, bad news will happen. In examination, I will not stand first all the time. After all, only one person will stand first. In some examinations, I will fail. Sometimes my car will have a puncture. Sometimes I'll get shouted at. And I'll talk about this being shouted at the end, very end, but sometimes expect a bad news. Next, things are better and bad. we look only at the bad and not at the better. Distinguish between level and direction of change. What is the level of change and direction of change? Good news is not news. Those of you who are from the media world, you know that good news is not news. People are not interested in knowing that. ಆಯ್ತ್ರಿ ಆ ಡೆಪ್ಟಿ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಪಗಾರ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದಲ್ಲ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲೇಬೇಕಲ್ಲ, ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿದೆ? ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಸಾಹೇಬರು ಇವತ್ತು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಪಾಠ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಪ್ಪ, ಆಗ್ಲಿಪ್ಪ, ಅವ್ರ ಕೆಲಸ ಅದು 30 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಪಾಠ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬರದ. So good news is not news. We do not know how to appreciate a good thing. We have not learned that. And this comes from families also. Unless we know how to appreciate a good thing, and rightly so, we'll always be pessimistic. So please look at this point and let me know if there is anything wrong on that. Gradual improvement is not news. Slow agi barta ide. Dramatic change is news. Gradual improvement is not news. But also, more bad news does not mean more suffering. More bad news actually means things are going up, somewhere it fell, does not mean the suffering is going up. Suffering may still be going, getting down, but we misinterpret as bad news as more suffering. One more thing here. Let me not read it out. You all know that we are always healthy. ರಾಮಚಂದ್ರ ಸಾಹೇಬರು ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಎಂತ ಇದ್ರು ಸರ್, ಆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹಳೇ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಸರ್ ಎಷ್ಟು ಒಳ್ಳೆಯವರು ಸರ್ ಅವರು. ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಗ್ಲೋರಿಫೈ ದಿ ಪಾಸ್ಟ್, ಗುಡ್, ಬಟ್ do not glorify the past to belittle the present. Present is not bad. At that time something was happening, today also something is happening. Do not take it as this thing just because past was very good. ನಾವು ಹುಡುಗ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಸರ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಸರ್, ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಏರ್ ಇತ್ತು ಸರ್, ನಾವು ಓದ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಇವಾಗ ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟ, ಬಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. Now there are a lot of things which are good today. We do not want to compare that. We want to compare only the bad things today with the good things in our past. Past is not always rosy, and even if it is, let us be proud of that without belittling the thing. We talked about thinking, we talked about negative thing. Let me now try to give you some example of how from perception, how do we form perception from certain information. Information baratte, how do we perceive that? This is a little bit of psychology I am talking to you now. I was talking to one of the professors who teaches in management, and he was telling me that behavioral finance heltilla sir nale. I say illa, behavioral finance helalla. I'll try to talk about behavioral economics, but some ideas from that. I was talking to some of the economics students who were sitting there, the girl student there. I checked with them what economics they are studying. If I bring in tough theorems of that, you will throw me out from here. So what I'll do, I'll talk a few humorous things on that, just to see whether the idea will get through. Do we see things, ಇದು ಪೂಜಾರಿ ಅಂತಾರೆ ಘಂಟಿ ಹೊಡೆಯಬೇಕು. ಸೊ ನಾವು ದೇವರ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗೋದ್ರೆ ಟೀಚರ್ಗಳು ಏನು, ಹಿಂದೆ ನಾವು ಟೀಚರ್ ಇದ್ದಾಗ only the bells rings, we do not stop. So whenever you feel that I am going over time, dayabittu somebody please tell me, illidre I'll continue till I. Okay. Do we see things as they are, or do we see something or not see something and perceive something else? ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೊಂದು ಐಡಿಯಾ ತಗೊಂಡು ಹೋದರೆ ಏನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ನೋಡೋದಲ್ಲ. What we see may not be what actually exists. That means I imagine something by seeing something, and let me give a few examples of that. I am now copying, I am attributing from Mr. Daniel Kahneman. I don't know how many of you have heard of this gentleman. He got Nobel Prize in Economics in the year 2002. So what I am speaking to you now is picked up from his Nobel Prize lecture delivered in 8th December 2002. Now in the Nobel Prize lecture, it is a very tough lecture, but there are certain issues that he picked up which I am going to show you. Okay, if I show you these three things, what is the middle one? A, this middle thing in ide, idu B anta helboda? Idu B anta helboda? A, B, C anta helboda ilvo? How many yes, how many no? Sorry? Because it is between A and C, it may be B. Because I am sitting with three vice chancellors, I may also be vice chancellor. Parvayilla, hange naditade. Next one. The same letter, the same drawing. It is now between 12 and 14. Most of you will read this as 13. Okay? Other drawing bannu, other art bannu, other writing bannu, ಕೆಲವು ಸರಿ ನಾವು ಆಲ್ಫಾಬೆಟ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಕೆಲವು ಸರಿ ನಾವು ನ್ಯೂಮರಲ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಯಾಕೆ? ಕಂಪನಿ ಯಾರ ಜೊತೆ ತಾವು ಇದ್ದೀರಿ ಅದರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, many times I would make a mistake. Ille suppose lot of professors came and introduced themselves to me. I don't have the elephantine memory to remember their name. But suppose I am cheeky and say, oh, nimge ivaga I met you in the guest house alva. He will say, no, you did not meet. No, I met you in the guest house. Yake? Because all the professors in the university came to the guest house. There is a positive probability that this professor was also in the guest house, so I can associate that you were also in the guest house. He said, illa re nim jote beti agidella, guest house bandidre ನೀವು. So many times we behave like that because from association, from the company that people take, we try to perceive something that way. The photo, that whatever it is, has not changed. But between A and C, it is read like B. Between 12 and 14, it is read like 13. What does it mean? What does Mr. Kahneman say? He shows this and says, look at this illusion. There are 3 lines. Which line is longer? Most of you, without thinking, will say that the middle line must be longest, the line at the top must be shortest, and the line at the bottom must be in between. That is the perception. This is called, to psychologists, called Muller-Lyer illusion. Now let me show you why this is not so. Because they are identical. The 3 lines are identical, but it just appears to us. So this is what I am trying to tell you, that the difference between information and perception. Same information, different perception. Why? Because they are conditioned in a particular way. ಕೆಲವು ಸರಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಬಡವರ ಮಗ ಸೆಂಡೆ ಟ್ರೇ ಕೆಳಗಡೆ ಬಂದು ನೀರು ಕುಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅವರು ಏನು ಕುಡಿತಾರೆ ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಫ್ ಎ ಪುವರ್ ಬಾಯ್ is drinking water below what ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ, toddy, he is drinking toddy ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ. Because we associate that way that a poor person toddy ಕುಡಿತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ. Now this is another tendency you must banish from your mind in order to, what is education? Education permits me to weigh the evidence, to look at all these things, not come to quick conclusions and then be affected by that. Why does it happen? It happens because the illusion happens in our brain and not in our eyes. My eyes are seeing them, but my brain is capturing something. Why does my brain capture something? Because human brain is, over evolution, this is what has happened. Let me very quickly come through this, that human brain jumps to very swift conclusion, very swift conclusion. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಬೇಗ ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಬೇಕು, ಬೇಗ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋಣ ಏನ್ ಬೇಕಾದರೆ, very swift conclusion ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. Is it good? Of course it is good. If the dramatic instincts were not there, life would not be interesting. If for everything I were to weigh the evidence and talk about that, life will not be interesting. The point is, must be distinguishing between when I need to make a quick judgment, what are the risks of that, and when I need to take some more time to make a judgment. Last illusion. The 2 balls in the middle are identical size, but most of you will think that the right ball is bigger than the left circle. They are identical size. Again, why? This is because of association. If something is within bigger ones, we think relatively small. Something is circled by smaller ones, relatively bigger. So therefore, this is another tendency, that by association we are trying to come to a situation where what information is coming to me is not the perception. Point is that, are these things useful to us? Yes, as a policy maker, as a student, these things are useful to me, because I have to ask the question, do rich and poor, faced with the same set of circumstances, do they react similarly? I'll try to show you that they do not react similarly. And therefore, what Amartya Sen says, that there must be equality of opportunity, there must be accessibility, people must get access to certain things. This is because some people who are disadvantaged, they do not take advantage or they are not able to exploit the opportunities as well as a person who is not disadvantaged. When midday meal scheme was started by a Tamil Nadu politician much earlier, all economists, all people criticized that by saying, Sarkari duddunu neevu waste marta idira. Today, every state has midday meal scheme because we have come to learn that ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿದೆ, ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ಖಾಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ವಿದ್ಯಾಭ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬರಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಹುಡುಗರು ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ತುಂಬದೆ ಹೊಟ್ಟೆ ತುಂಬದೆ ಬಂದ್ರೆ they will not be able to study. So therefore there is a social welfare measure, but people have done that. This I am trying to reinforce by this study, which again I'll ask you to play games with me. The question, do haves think differently than have nots? Example, rich and poor. Example, when you are at a deadline, most of your students are on a deadline. Sometimes the teachers ask you to give a paper on Monday. So Sunday night ನೀವು ಎಲ್ಲ whole night ಮಾಡಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನಾಳೆ ಪೇಪರ್ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಆ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಅಸ್ತವ್ಯಸ್ತ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ, ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. This is what I am trying to show you now by this example. People who are thirsty and who are not thirsty. Now you can say I am thirsty because I have been talking for a while. I'll drink a little bit of water now. So because thirsty people and non-thirsty people look differently. Last one, presence and absence of some circumstances. Nange cinema ನೋಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ, ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಸಿನಿಮಾ ನೋಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಟಿಕೆಟ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. ಆ ಎರಡು ಮನುಷ್ಯನ ವ್ಯವಹಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿದರೆ ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ because the mental state decides how we react to situation. Let us play the game now. Here are some words. I am going to give you some words. Look carefully. Look at them carefully because you are playing a game. Okay? I'll give 2 words at a time. In a normal thing, I read out the words, but I know we are short of time, so I'll give 2 words at a time. Just have a look at that. First 2 words, rest, bed. Tired, snooze. Blanket, slumber. Snore, doze. Wake, dream. Nap, awake. I gave you how many words? 10. I gave you 12 words. So 30 ಆಯ್ತು. Okay? I gave you 12 words. You looked at only 10 words. Very good. Now let's try to recall them. Okay? Now obviously in a normal class of 30 students, I would have asked each person to write down which words you recalled. Okay? In this if I do, there are several more speakers. ಅವರು ಕೊಂದ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ನನಗೆ, ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಮಾತಾಡಬೇಕಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಕೇಳಲ್ಲ. I will tell you what is the answer. When this test was given to large number of people and asked them to recollect the words, not many could recollect 12. Not many could recollect 6. But what is important is not how many you recollected, what words you recollect. It so happened that these are the 12 words were linked to each other in some way, but that is not important. What is important is what people recollected, and people recollected the words like this: bed. Yes, bed was one word. Tired, dream, slumber. Nobody recollected snore. You don't like snoring, you don't recollect that. People recollected sleep. Please look carefully. Is sleep one of the words that I gave? Is sleep one of the words in the 12 which are on the left side? Sleep is not there. Sleep is not there. People recollected sleep as a word because all these 12 words that I gave, rest, bed, tired, snooze, blanket, slumber, snore, doze, wake, dream, they are linked to only one thing, sleep. So ಈ ಶಬ್ದಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ people said sleep ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್, ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದಿರಾ? Once in one class they told me ನೀವು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಿ sleep sir ಅಂತ. So I had recorded my speech. I replayed that speech and said that, did I say sleep? No. Why is it that people make this mistake? They make the mistake because the information that is coming and the perception are different things. You are associating that all the 12 words are related to sleep, and their sleep must be there. The way I told you that the professor who said hello, I told you guest house bandira sir. Illa bandila re, bandindra re ನೀವು Atara. That is the reason this happens. The researchers did the following thing. They gave the same thing to rich and poor. The difference was very little. People who are rich, the yellow strip here is the rich people, about 17%. The slightly bluish strip is for, high income and low income. The poorer people and richer people, the difference was very little, 2 percentage point, nothing at all. This is the point I am trying to make in the next one. 12 more words will be given. I'll finish in 10 minutes. 12 more words were given, and this time they linked to memory, loan, phone, dollar, coin, gas. What happened was that the richer people, they recalled something, but most poor people, they recalled money. You see the number of people who looked at these words and recalled money which is not there. Why? Because all these 12 things, pay, cash, utilities, grocery, expense, they have to deal with money. A poor man thinks about money. A poor man, suppose I tell a poor man, so blood pressure test madi bartira. He is a cost test, sir. What is the cost, sir? A rich person said, bare blood pressure na. So diabetes malla. This is the difficulty with the rich people and the poor people, with the advantage and disadvantage, with the thirsty and non-thirsty, a personal. The difficulty is that we perceive things depending on our psychological state. So what we learn from this? We learn the following. Let us conclude. Take light and sound together. That boy, take light and sound together. Any information barate, adake we must take together. Next, stay focused. If you are focused on the words, you will never think of sleep, because you are focusing on the word and not making your mind play games with you. Stay focused. As a student, when you are preparing for an examination, stay focused. Look at what is being there. You try to get all the information, stay focused, and finally, do not partition events. Don't think of this event as separate, that event, this thing. Do not partition event, take them together. This essentially is what I wanted to convey to you by saying let us conclude. And so let me try to summarize what I said. I tried to talk to you about thinking as a process. I tried to say we do not think about thinking, and if we have to think, we need to make very sure that what you are thinking is the right direction by staying focused, by not separating, partitioning my information set, and like this. I have not ended. I promised you that I will tell you a story about your teacher or somebody shouting at you, so I will tell you this story. Okay? In normal class, I would have borrowed some money. So, who among all these people is the richest? Mr. Shetty must be richest. Can I borrow some money from you? You don't have money at all. Ondu paisa illa. Hegde sir, tam kade idea. Can I get borrow some note from you? Sir, ondu note idea tam kade. Howdu sir? Ide kodi.
Mangalore University they ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ.
Ha, kodi. Ondu yavadondu note kodi. Sir? How? Itkolli. This is a 50 rupee note, alva? 50 rupee note. If I spit on this, will the value go down? I spit on this, will the value go down? No. I make it like this, put under my shoe, give it back to him, will the value go down? No. I put this in my sewer, in the toilet, take it out, clean it and then keep it, will the value go down? No. This particular currency note, the value is idara madhyadalli ide. It is internal to that. Whether I spit on this, whether I throw on this, or I put perfume on this, the value will not increase. Therefore, my dear friends, someday your teacher, your parent, your beloved, somebody may speak to you harshly. Somebody will denigrate you. Somebody will insult you. Your value doesn't go down. Thank you very much.
It was nice to hear that appreciative applause. It's after a long time that we are listening to a Foundation Day lecture from someone from the humanities, and that it is a shot in the arm for all of us. Wonderful lecture, and I know that I express the feelings of everyone present in the audience here at this moment when we say that we'd like to express our appreciation to Dr. Pujari, and may I request our Honorable Vice Chancellor to honor Professor Pujari for this wonderful moments that he has spent with us here today. Yes.